Alright, welcome to another episode of Fantasy Premier League with Man McMahon. This time, we're going to be doing a little recap of the Game Week 3 squad, assess what went well, what didn't, where to improve, and then we're going to do a squad reveal of my Game Week 4 side, including potential contingency planning for any absences due to injury. And also, how did I fit Ronaldo into my squad? Because he is featured in my squad. He is my captain for this game week. We're talking about how I made that conclusion and any other strategy that I came up with. I will let you in on the secret, including what my little sneak preview of what I'm planning for future weeks. But big news is after game week 3, I'm officially in the top 1% of all Fantasy Premier League managers. Oh, that's enough waffle. I'll show you what I did, what I'm going to do, and hopefully it'll all work out. Alright, so let's take a look at my results from game week 3. So as you can see, the backline was really solid. Lloris had a good game against Watford. Obviously, Tottenham as a whole offensively. I mean, the one goal was a Son goal, which worked out for me, but it was kind of a fluky goal. You'd expect Tottenham to do better against Watford, but clean sheet, 6 points for my man Hugo. Worked out well. The Triple City backline, it didn't work out exactly how I thought it would, but it worked out better than I could have planned for. Because originally my thought was I didn't know which one would become a victim to Pep Roulette. I didn't know who was going to get subbed out. I just figured one of them would. And none of them did. And thank God, because my bench wasn't organized as well as it should have been. Because had one of them come off, I would have had Richarlison going, and that would have been a disaster. If two of them come out, well, Janssen would have made up for it somewhat. But as it worked out, couldn't have been better. Cresswell's a little bit disappointing, obviously. I mean, West Ham's entire result, a 2-2 draw with Palace. Not great, but thankfully got both an assist and a bonus to kind of make up for it. So defensive line was solid. And then the midfield. The midfield is always where I struggle in terms of there's just so much ebb and flow. You can never really accurately pinpoint anything. But thankfully Greenwood, I'm a Man United fan, so thankfully Greenwood showed up. Oh, he was in a menace for Wolves. It was looking like that match was all Wolves. United was lucky to get out of there with a win. They would have been lucky to get out of there with a draw, but Greenwood gets his goal. Pogba puts up 2 points, which is disappointing, but oh well. Same thing with Benrahma. The fact that there's 2 goals in that West Ham Palace game and he wasn't involved with either is a bit disappointing, but I mean, the Fornals goal could have just have easily been his. And then Son, obviously, free kick goal, and he's going to get the bonus. Very good showing from him. I mean, I would imagine that Spurs fans are feeling a lot like Man United fans after that game. Thank God for the win, but it wasn't pretty. And then, of course, up front, we got Calvert-Lewin, who had another decent game week. Very solid. Goal and assist for Calvert-Lewin. Very solid. And then, of course, Mikel Antonio. I captained the right man. I mean, captaining Antonio. How can you go wrong? The only really misfire on my part, obviously, Benrahma and Pogba, but, that's occupational hazard with midfield is I was not expecting as big of a game from Janssen. He got involved on the offensive end for Brentford. And what do you know? He puts up 7 points, which obviously it would have been good to have him in my squad, but who could have seen that coming? So, all in all, very decent. And as you can see, I'll point your attention to the scoreboard here. I finished with 82 points, and thank God for the wild card. It might have been a mistake to burn my wild card this early, but it was worth it at this point. Saved me a ton on transfer deductions. I get my 82 points, get 55,000 in the game week, which is very, very solid, and that has launched me into the top 1% of all Fantasy Premier League managers. So, let's take a look at my squad for this week. Alright, now let's take a look at my Game Week 4 squad. Given that I already burned my wildcard chip, I was very fortunate that I only had to make 3 transfers in order to both get Ronaldo into my team and still have a very decent squad for the game week. So, those 3 transfers were, coming in, we got Ronaldo, and going out, we have Richarlison. Coming in, we also have Adama Traore, and going out, we have Mason Greenwood. And then finally, on the defensive end, we are bringing in Luka Dean and bringing out João Cancelo. So, what that means is, this is what my squad is looking at. In the net, we've got Hugo Lloris, who should have a solid game week against Palace. Palace might have found their scoring form against West Ham, but Tottenham, currently top of the table, they didn't get there by accident. They've been solid defensively, and I think that's going to continue. On the back line, Dean against Burnley, Everton should be solid. They haven't been in past fixtures, but this is 2 different Everton and Burnley teams, so hopefully Luka Dean can get a good result. On the other sides, we have Laporte and we have Diaz. And the reason why I've gone for this type of setup is they were both in my game week squad last week. And keeping them in here means I get to save on transfer deductions, and also the chances of both of them not being in there are fairly low. At least one of them should be in there. And if I am tormented by Pep Roulette, they should sub out well. Like, let's say both are not there, I get in Cresswell and I get Janssen in. Those are decent backups. Or even just one of them. So let's say Diaz stays in, but Laporte doesn't. Cresswell subs in. He's against Southampton. That's a decent lineup. The back line is very solid and protected against Pep Roulette. Moving on to the midfield, Ben Rama didn't have a great game against Palace, looking to bounce back. He's got Southampton, a great team to bounce back against. Then we got Traore, Wolves luck. I talked about it in the fixture analysis, hoping to have turned. Traore has been a monster all season, just hasn't had the stats to prove it. So now he's got that chance against a worse team than what they've gone against previously. Watford, ripe for a bounce back for Traore as well. Then we got Pogba. This man can run up the assist against Newcastle. You've got so many different options for him. You got Greenwood, you got Fernandes, you got Ronaldo. It doesn't matter who he's passing the ball to, they are a threat to score. And then we've got Son. I'm going to talk a little bit more about him later in terms of his injury troubles. We'll get to that later, but he is good. Got a good matchup. What could go wrong? Then, up front, Ronaldo. Yes, sir. He's back. And I'm confident that he's going to play. I think it would be very, very foolish in all aspects to keep Ronaldo out of this game week. I think Ole is going to put him in, both from obviously you're a better team when Ronaldo's playing for you, but also it's a home match and it's Ronaldo. He has come home. If they don't play him, fools. They're absolute fools. And honestly, like I don't see the there is no downside to playing him. Like unless there's like a reason why he can't play. This man is going to be in the squad. If it's just pure decision on Ole's part, absolute fool. Then we got Mikel Antonio. Don't need to say anything else about him. He's been a beast all year. Now he's going up against Southampton. Yes, please. And then finally, we've got Calvert-Lewin going against Burnley. He's been another monster all season. The only issue, I'm going to now talk about him and Son. On the injury front, I mean, Calvert-Lewin had I think it was a thigh injury just before the international break. It's a little bit worrisome, and also he had a broken toe during preseason, but he just played through it. So like, if he can play, he's going to play. But can he play now? He's had a couple weeks to rest and rehabilitate. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful, but once again, even if he doesn't, I have the subs to back it up. Same thing with Son. He pulled up, I think it was a calf injury or a thigh injury as well. It was a muscular injury. I think it was a strain during the international break for Korea. Missed the last game. He's been rehabbing it. He's had this injury before, but it didn't result in any missed time. I think he's had a calf injury before. Didn't miss any games. He's had a little bit of time to rest and rehabilitate. Of course, he's also the first game of the game week, so we'll see what happens. But like I said, I am protected from injuries and from Pep Roulette on my bench. It's a solid squad. Hopefully it goes well. Let's get after it. All right, well, that about does it for me for this episode of Fantasy Premier League. Hopefully you have come to a decision on what your squad's going to look like, and hopefully they perform well. I'm rooting for everybody out there because, well, Ronaldo's back, and that's thrown a wrench into everybody's plans. A little sneak preview into what I've got sorted for next week. I am going to be using my free hit chip for next week, so it's going to be an absolute madness for that 1 week and 1 week only. We're going to make sure that it performs well, because if I waste my free hit here, I will be cursing myself out for the rest of the season. But that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I helped you out a little bit. And if I did, well, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time. I am going to be putting out UCL fantasy. If you're doing that as well, I'll be doing a UCL fantasy series. That should be coming out sometime on this weekend, probably around Sunday. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Peace.